Hello, everyone. This is the pre-show, so it's a pre-show show. This is basically, well, the show for the show sort of thing. So basically, we're going to just go through and just introduce ourselves, just say hi and have a quick talk before the main show. Feel free to comment and chat if you can actually hear us. I'm turning chat on now, so if you can see us, let us know, and obviously, well, tell us if you can hear us. Right, let's start off. Let's go to Ben first. So, Ben, how are you doing today? What have you been up to this week?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Phil. Yeah, it's not a busy week, really. Just doing a lot of sort of refurbishing and whatnot, testing hard drives and SSDs, the usual joys. But yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good. What about yourself, Will number one?
Yes, tonight, live from my bedroom, I'm Will I Am, special guest. Yeah, it's been quite busy week actually, the last few weeks. A bit of mixture of broken screens and DC charging harnesses and some MacBooks in, so it's can't complain. Yeah, it's been good.
That's pretty good. Do you do a lot of stuff like that, or do you do more?
Yeah, mostly I've managed to pick up some work from local authority. So I've got a lot of the kids, school kids' laptops and things, which is normally broken screens and broken charging ports. So yeah, the last few weeks I've had about maybe 20 or so laptops with a mixture of both. It's really good, really good. Can't complain. So yeah, it's been good.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And next up, we've got Will number two. So, Will number two, what have you been up to this week?
This week's been a little quieter. The last few weeks have been absolutely manic. Been doing 6-day weeks. This week I've been running interviews for a new admin because my current admin assistant is leaving. So been busy doing that. Haven't found the right person yet, unfortunately, but I've got my fingers crossed.
Okay, that's pretty good. It's always hard to find staff when you need them, and then when you don't need them, you get 100 people a day asking for a job. It's just how it always goes. And newcomer of the day is Daniel. So, Daniel, how are you doing today? Are you finding it busy work-wise?
Yeah, not too bad. They're starting to do a lot more CCTV, so I get asked for quite a lot. So I've just been doing that and a few stock checks, getting ready.
That's pretty good. What sort of brand are you using for your CCTV? Is it anything with big brand or?
It's all Hikvision or Hikvision, depending on how you want to produce it. But it's one where you can put alarm systems and everything with it as well.
Oh, that's pretty good then. So it gives you lots of opportunities to upsell and add bits in and stuff then, doesn't it? So that's pretty good.
But when I was on site yesterday, they announced on the TV that Scotland are wanting smart alarms now. So you know your smoke alarms?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to force people to have all smart connected ones now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We've got to have them in pretty much every room that you're sitting in, like living room, kitchen, obviously, and they want them all smart, Wi-Fi connected and fancy pants stuff. But it's so the price of smoke alarms and electricians in my area has just went through the roof because everybody's it had to be done for the 1st of February, I believe it was. So
something like that. Yeah. Well, the benefit is with the Hikvision stuff, you can just add it on.
Yeah.
It's just a simple add-on. Dead easy.
That's pretty crazy. That.
A lot of Wi-Fi cameras as well that you're doing, Daniel. You do a lot of Wi-Fi cameras.
I generally fit coax because it's a lot simpler for the end user.
Yeah.
So if you fit an IP, then you have to worry about IP addresses changing, refreshing. So I'll generally just fit like a coax camera, and that way it's just in case you fit it and forget about it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Probably the best way.
Yeah, especially when you're doing a lot of consumers, if they change the router and then all the cameras go down, it's a case of, well, you keep going out, changing them all the time and fixing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing worse when you set something up for someone and they call you every 5 minutes. It don't work, like a wireless printer or something. The wireless printer's not working again. It's like, for God's sake, just plug it into a USB.
Yeah. Where are you doing your interviews? Are you advertising online?
Oh, sorry, guys. I think someone's got a dog getting attacked or something at the moment.
I think that's the delivery driver at my door, and the dogs are going mental.
Do you want to go get that, or?
Well, the wife's locked out, she can go and get it.
Okay.
I was asking Will about his interviews, where he's advertising about. You find that social media better or online or?
Social media works quite well. I've posted it in my local town page, but I get a lot of unqualified people come to that. They just sort of drop me a private message. When I advertised for this job last time, I actually had some people applying without a CV and then asking me to help them write a CV to apply for the job. And for an admin position, it's not ideal. So Indeed seems to be going quite well. I'm going to have to start scouting LinkedIn, I think.
Yeah,
I'm thinking a bit more proactive.
Thinking about getting some help myself, just maybe one day a week or so. So I'm just trying to suss out how the best way to go about it.
If you're not in a rush for someone, I would say put it on Indeed, put it on socials, and keep an eye out on LinkedIn and just look for the right person. Do interviews when you have time. I've left it a bit too late, really, and now I'm sort of floundering because I really need a PA. I can't handle myself.
Yeah, no, it's good that you recognise that though as well. So.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Right, for guys who are just logging in and watching, we will be going properly live at 8 o'clock. This is just a pre-show, so in 2 minutes' time we'll go live and we'll go through the normal topics of the day. Just let us know you're watching, though, because obviously we don't know if anyone can actually see us. I can see it says there are, but they could just be Facebook bots or YouTube something or others what are watching us at the moment. So please comment, let us know who you are, where you are, and what business you're working for as well. We'll give you a shout-out. Right.
On my second screen, so it is working.
It is working, yeah. I'm going to say it should be working, but it's always nice to have people commenting, even though you can see people are watching. But it's sometimes they're just a little bit shy and quiet. So no doubt they'll all flood in all at the same time. So unless the chat's broken, which I won't be surprised, that's happened a few times, especially on Facebook in the past. So, we have got someone watching. There we go. So we've got Paul saying, evening from Neo Computers, and you can hear us loud and clear. There we go. That's a good start. So we know there's people there. Right, guys, I'm going to do the quick countdown now to the live show. So we'll be back in about 30 seconds, roughly. So see you in a second.
You're watching Tech Talk in affiliation with Tech for Techs. We're a community that supports independent trade with the help of vendors and distributors. We're live every Thursday at 8 p.m. London time, and we'll be streaming to Facebook and YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You can listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Google, TuneIn, and many more. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, and your host, Phillip Griffiths.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tech for Tech Tech Talk, where we help your IT business grow. Today, we do have, if I get rid of the sign what says it's a pre-show, 1 second, we do have 4 guests today. We have got Ben, Will, as well as Daniel. So we've got Will I Am on the show, and we've also got Will Smith. So if you think you've tuned into Hollywood, I think, unfortunately, you're a bit mistaken. Right, tonight's show is all about, we all want to tell a customer to go and fly away now and again. So tonight's show is about basically what you should or should not say to a customer. So first of all, we've got Ben on the show. So Ben, if you want to introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are, what you do, and if you've got any tips and so forth for us.
Thanks, Phil. I'm Ben Ashcroft. I run Bugs and Bytes Computing in Lincoln. Sell refurbished laptops, desktops, gaming PCs, and trade sales as well. So my tip of the week is to do with eBay. So I use Google Chrome, and when I've been on eBay, when I click on a link for an auction, it opens it in an entirely new tab, and it was driving me absolutely mad. And I thought it was a setting in Chrome. I was scouring settings. It's nothing to do with that. It's a setting on eBay. I've got a screen grab there for how to change the settings so that it opens in one tab rather than automatic tabs. So it puts something in, you search for it, and then click on the burger bar icon, which I've highlighted in red there for you. And then that brings up the box there, and you can open items in the new tab or in the same tab. And I don't know why it changed, but it did change. Like I said, it was opening in a new tab every time, and it was driving me mad. That's how you change that, and sorts it out.
Okay, that's a good tip to start off with. Unfortunately, if everyone could see Ben's search history there, just ignore it. We just want to know about all those things what we mentioned on the side. Right, next we got Will I Am. So, Will, if you want to introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are, and if you've got any tips, stories, and so forth for us today.
Tonight, I'm a special guest as Will I Am. from Dunfermline. I run a company called Consumer Tech, which is an MSP company and repairs and break and repair fixes and things. My story tonight is actually there's a lot of nuts under ransomware, and it's KP, the business called KP Nuts, who has McCoys, a lot of crisps and different variant nuts. They've been hit with an attack of ransomware, and they've been asked for I think it's 7.7 million to get out of the sticky wicket. So it's just just goes to show that even the big large companies are not free of any attacks like this. So yeah, just keep an eye out. Watch this space.
Yeah.
See whose nuts are frozen.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's definitely an interesting one, and it's not the sort of company you'd really expect people would want to go and hack. It really is.
No, there's going to be a delay now on crisps and peanuts, they're saying. So
yeah, exactly. So that is a strange one. So, but yeah, I'm going to say it does happen. So, right, let's just quickly go to chat before going any further. So, hi Peter. So, and we've also got Kieran Francis at Cloud Dolphin as well. So, if you're looking for a cloud-based backup system, but yeah, I'm going to. Okay, am I getting an echo there from someone? So. Let's try that again. So we've got Kieran Francis. He's from Cloud Dolphin. So if you're interested in Cloud Backup, have a word with him. We've also got Facebook user saying evening. Facebook user, if you can click the link in chat, I'm going to put in now, or it should be able to take you to the correct page, which will allow your name to be shown. So I'm just sharing that now.
We're live.
Sorry for the echo there. So I'm just putting that in there. I have a feeling that was Raheem actually saying evening, so but I might be wrong. So right, so let's move on to the next Will. So Will number 2, or Will Smith. So what's your business? What do you do? And what's your tip story of the day?
I'm from Chard. I run SMS PC and iPhone repair. As the name suggests, we do PC and iPhone repair, as well as marketing, tech training, website design, a bit of everything. My story of the day is, over the weekend I was at a friend's house. I was looking at a laptop, and as soon as I sat in front of it, the screen just went black. I toggled the caps lock key, could see it was working underneath, but there are some very important unsaved documents on there. As we know, they should always be saved regularly. I hooked up to a TV, and boom, laptop screen came straight on immediately, which was quite lucky. Turns out the storage was completely full, not a single megabyte free. So I saved that, restarted it, cleared a load of stuff off, and started working again.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's a nice one. Also, hi to Nyambi. I presume I've pronounced that right on LinkedIn as well. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. I'd pronounce mine wrong if it wasn't actually written on my emails every morning. So, right, next up we've got Daniel. So Daniel, or Dan, is a newcomer today, so be nice to him. Don't ask any awkward questions from him or anything like that. Or do your worst, actually. Go on, do your worst. Ask him your best questions. But basically, he's the newcomer, so if you want to introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are, what you do, and if you've got any tips or stories.
Yeah, I'm Dan from Dan's Tech. I'm in Northern Cumbria, United Kingdom. I do mostly CCTV, but I've come across a lot of new installs, new setups as well. I'd say probably the tip on there is keep on top of your mobile technology. I fit a CCTV system for a guy. He's kicking off because it wouldn't work on his phone. So he had a smart doorbell. He had several rings, wouldn't work. Turns out it was still on Android 5 on his mobile, which doesn't allow background tasks. So whatever happened, it wouldn't work. And he kicked off with me something rotten until I proved it was his phone. A week later, new phone, works perfect.
Yeah, and I bet you were nice and polite to the customer as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I just wanted to run away.
Yeah, I think that's what we want to do quite often, to be honest. So, yeah, thanks for that. And Raheem in chat is saying hi, Dan, as well. So, hi back to you, Raheem, from Dan. So, right, first of all, it's before we go any further, I suppose it's my introduction. I'm Phil at Tech for Techs, also Chips Computers. I own a retail store as well and do all the usual stuff, fix computers, build them, and so on. my tip of the day is going to be... let's have a think. I did have a good tip, but I've gone and forgot exactly what it was now. Oh, yeah. So it's the new target for nationwide 1 gigabyte broadband has actually been moved back from 2025 to now 2030. So if you were hoping on 1 gigabit internet and you haven't got it already, well, you may have to wait another 8 years. They are saying that they will have 85% coverage by 2025, but again, this is coming from the government, so who knows? There might be a few parties between now and then, so they might forget all about it. Right, next up is, before we go any further, we've got today's sponsor, which funnily enough is going to be the best one of them all. Can you go and meet hundreds of people just like you? Strengthen existing relationships and forge new ones with vendors and distributors and meet some of the biggest names in the industry. Where you can go and see the newest tech and services that you need to make your IT business grow. Where there'll be thousands of pounds worth of prizes up for grabs. And what's more, you get all that for £1. TechMax 2022 will be on the 24th of June at Bramall Lane, the Sheffield United football stadium in Sheffield. There will be around 50 different brands available for you to meet and up to 500 other techs just like you. Get registered now at techmax2022.co.uk. And there we go. Right, so TechMax 2022, it's soon coming up. We've got around about, I don't know, probably about 130, 140 days left before it's going to take place. We do have some announcements of new vendors and distributors who will be attending. We do have Target components attending, so a lot of you have been asking about Target. When are they coming, or if they're coming? Well, they are coming. They are 100% committed now. We've also got PAX 8 coming as well, so they're obviously doing lots of cloud-based stuff. You can buy like Microsoft Office from them and resell and stuff like that. You've got MZSoft, which is quite a good security system, what you could try out. It's also got some nice features like white labeling, your security programs, what you sell to customers and stuff like that. I do suggest you take a look at that. We will also have another security firm there, Bullguard. So most of you know Bullguard, love them or hate them, they will be there. We've also got Computer Repairman, who has also been announced on the previous show, and Kioxia, which also used to be known as Toshiba's, or at least Toshiba's memory brand, as in the RAM SSDs and stuff like that. And that goes on top of all the others like eArmor, Oriental, Glyph Computing, Maxim, X-Strike, TechBuyer, Lexar, ALM Wholesale, Cherry, Repairbase, NZXT, Aerocool, CMS Distribution, and there's quite a few more to go through as well, but it gives you a rough idea of who's going to be attending. There's going to be about 50 vendors and distributors altogether. We should have quite a few more to announce in the coming weeks once the ink has dried on a lot of the contracts. So that's pretty much of who's coming. If anyone does have any questions about TechMax or the event, anything like that, feel free to ask in the chat. Right, let's move on. Let's have a look. So we got John Sellers saying evening all as well. So that's pretty good. So does anyone have any questions about TechMax? Feel free to ask. We've got a lot of people who keep sending me messages about them, asking different things. So if you do have any questions, let us know.
What's your opinion, Phil, on Target Show? And should people be attending Target Show or TechMax, or should they go to both of them? Or
Okay, good question. Okay, wasn't expecting it from you, Ben. I was expecting it from chat, but I'll let you off anyway. Right, so Target has obviously announced they're having a show. They're having it in May, I believe it is, so about 6 weeks before TechMax. So, what was that, Will? Sorry?
Friday the 13th. I'm looking for some.
Oh, Friday the 13th. Okay, well, hopefully, I wish them luck anyway. But which event should you attend, or why should you attend either? Well, I think, to be honest, you should attend both. They're both going to be slightly different, to be honest. Target's aiming it for their own customers more than anything, so you're going to see what brands they've got to offer. like their own made stuff. I think they do their own monitors and keyboard, mice, and as well as a few other different names there. But some of the names what are going to be there will also potentially be at TechMax as well. And believe it or not, Target are at TechMax as well anyway. So if you only could pick one, you could speak to them at TechMax. But the difference is they're aimed at their customers and people who come to them. TechMax is there for you to see all the distributors and all the vendors from all around, so you're not just going to one place. So if you were to pick one, well, I know which one I'd say, but to be honest, I would go to both, and I am going to both. So I will be at Target's open day, or whatever they're calling it, barbecue and whatever party or whatever it is. And obviously I will be at TechMax as well. So if you can, attend both. Right, okay, so did that answer your question, Ben?
Yeah, that's fine, thanks.
Okay, I hope that was good enough. So, right, evening to John as well, and okay, I don't know who that is, and I don't know what that is, so unfortunately you're disappearing. Let's have a look. And block. And excuse me 1 second. And it doesn't want to disappear. Well, there we go. We'll ignore it anyway. Right, okay, so let's go on to the main topic then. So the main topic is, what should you or should you not say to a customer? And as I said before, we all have certain things we'd like to say to customers now and again, but they're not always the best things to say. So Ben, let's start off with you. What should you or should you not say to a customer, or a story about what you've said or not said to a customer?
So sometimes the worst thing you can say to a customer, you just get that feeling they're just going to be an absolute royal pain in the arse, pardon my French. Sometimes the worst thing you can say to them is, I recommend this laptop for you, sir. It's yeah, so I got a batch of laptops on the cheap from like trading off a deal I did with a cadets sort of group, fairly local. I was punting them out at 99 quid a piece just to get them going. I think they were like first gen machines, brand new SSDs, so still serviceable for kids' homework, that sort of thing. I put them on my Facebook page, and I had about 8 of them, and I sold 7 of them within half an hour, no questions asked. And I had one left, and this guy messaged me last week, and he says, "Oh, I'm looking for a laptop," and I'm like, "Well, how much do you want to spend?" And he says, 100 quid maximum. And I thought, "Oh, here we go." I don't do cheap laptops generally for a reason, and this is the reason you get the wrong type of customers. So yeah, I said, well, I've got this one. It's sort of about 10 years old, but it's got brand new drive in it. It runs really nice and fast for what it is, sort of thing, you know. And he comes back, "Oh, can I have a review of it, please?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, sure, I'll send you a review. I thought it's a £99 machine. How many reviews do you want to look at, you know?" But I sent it to him anyway. And then he sort of came back and said, "Oh, the review looks great, but the battery life doesn't look great for it." And I'm like I said, I don't mean to be sort of funny with this. It's a £99 laptop to clear. I says the batteries are actually really good, working order, and still holding a decent charge. I says the laptops themselves look absolutely mint. They're basically stored in my cupboard for that long. And he sort of went away and had a think about it, and then he came back and said, "Oh, will they take Windows 11, or do they have Microsoft Office on them?" And I'm like, I just sort of sat there thinking to myself, you know what? This is one person I do not want to deal with, because if this is what he's like now before he comes in and looks at, buys laptop, he's just going to become a complete and utter nightmare once he takes it. So I just sort of waited 5 minutes and said, "Look, really sorry, someone's just come and collected it and sold."
Yeah, I think that's the best thing to do sometimes. I must admit, we have put customers off now and again buying stuff. I thought when you said he came back to you, you were going to say he came back and offered you 50 quid or something like that. We get that one all the time. So we've had people come in the store before, and they'll see like a well, I don't know, £400 or £500 laptop, whatever, brand new or whatever, and they'll inquire about it, and then they'll say, "Oh, I'll think about it," and then they'll come back like later that day, and it's like, "Oh, I see that laptop hasn't sold yet. Would you do it for £300 instead?" And it's like, no. And then the next day they come back and it's still not sold. "Will you do it for £300? And I'm like, oh, God's sake. Sometimes you just wish you could tell them to go get lost, but you have to be polite now and again, unfortunately. And I'll go through some of the things you should, or how you should say things in a few minutes. But yeah, that definitely causes a few issues now and again. So let's go on. Sorry, what was that, Ben?
I was just going to say, Paul's comment there, absolutely right what he's just said.
Yeah. I don't think you can even get a Chromebook for £100. And that's saying something. So, yeah,
You
you
can't
do
get
get
Microsoft Office for £100, let alone a laptop with Microsoft Office and Windows 11 and a good battery.
Yeah,
but you can get it off of that dodgy. You can get it off that dodgy guy on the Facebook Marketplace for £5. Office. It's
It'd be the same sort of customer who buys the gaming PC for £200 off Amazon, right?
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, we see a lot of those. That's another story. Right, let's move on to Will next. So Will, I am first.
I think sometimes when I started up with the business, what I was nervous about is people leaving negative reviews on like Google and Facebook and things like that. So I sort of had to feel that you had to watch what you were saying to people, and even like the customers that Ben's talking about that's chancing their luck, and you have to watch what you're saying because you don't want them leaving negative reviews because so many people read reviews and they're all, but I've learned over time now that, just be honest with them. And if I've had to say to a few, look, the device is now sold, or the device, you can't repair it. What do you mean you can't repair it? You've had it for 4 or 5 days now and it's not fixed yet. And it's just some people have this sense of entitlement that, they think that because they're using your services that you should be doing everything like dead cheap, or you're not running a business, and because I work from home, the office in my garden, and they think that you've not got any overheads, but you still got overheads to pay for. So I've had some terrible experiences with customers going into customers' houses where they're smoking, for instance, and I don't like that. But it's up to them if they want to smoke. But I ask them not to smoke, and then they kick off at you. What do you mean? You're telling me not to smoke in my own house, and I'm not asking you not to smoke, but this is my workplace. Can you maybe stop smoking for a wee second, because you've got to think about my health? And before you know it, you're into big hoo-has with the customers, and you think then in the back of my mind is, am I going to get a negative review here? Am I going to be this? Am I going to that? And you just really want to tell them to go and do one. But yeah, I just think I've always communicated with customers. Even I have another job as well with local authority where I deal with antisocial behaviour, and we get a lot of customers with noise complaints and things like that, where you've really got to just tell them, I've got the right to say, like, we don't want you smoking in the house while I'm coming in, for example, or noisy party going on, and they speak to some people. Actually, I've found out that people are just sometimes arses. People are, they just, excuse my French again, but yeah, people versus people is just ridiculous sometimes. That's more of a moaning rant there than an explanation of our story. But oh Jesus, man, you hear some stories tonight, I guarantee it.
Yeah, I must admit, you get quite a few like that. You ask a customer politely to do something or whatever, and I've even had things where I've asked like for a drink or something, because you'd expect when you be at customers out to offer you a drink or whatever. And I've even been before and say, "Oh, I'll have do you mind if I have a glass of water or something? I've been here like 2 hours and you've not offered me anything, and you've even made yourself a cup of tea 3 times and a coffee or whatever, and not even offered me one. You wouldn't mind just a glass of water?" And then they're cheeky enough to say, "Oh, well, is it any cheaper because the repair because we've give you drinks and stuff?" And it's like, what? Yeah. And then you get the ones.
Sorry, Paul raises a good point there about competitors. Yeah, that's sort of one area that I agree with Paul there. I wouldn't badmouth competitors because I know a lot of my competitors and they know me as well. So I wouldn't like it if they were badmouthing me. But yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I agree with that as well, Paul. Is you don't say bad about your competitors because it does sound like you're holding grudges. Best way of doing it is, if someone asks you about your competitors, just say, "I don't know what they offer, but these are the things we offer or the things we do." So make yourself sound better rather than making them sound worse. Is probably the best way I like to do it. Obviously, try and get your facts right when you are saying that. Don't do a direct comparison and say, "Yeah, they don't do that, we do this." But just say, "We do these things." Obviously, it's up to you if you want to check if they do those. That's totally up to them. But is talk yourself up rather than other people down. But yeah. Going back to that conversation though about people in the room and so forth, it's even when COVID was really big at the beginning, or when when we first could start going around to houses and stuff, and you have your masks on all the time, which I still do anyway. And you ask the customers, can you stay 2 meters away and all this? And they're over your shoulder, talking in your ear and whatever. And it's like, come on, get back. There's like a national pandemic going off. If you believe it or not, it's another thing. But we're trying to protect your health and not only our own and our other customers. Last thing we want is obviously to kill all our customers off, because then we won't have any customers to actually repair computers for. So, not trying to sound mean or anything, but right, let's go have a look at what Macaulay's saying. Right, really annoys me when a customer expects you just to fix it anyway, when you have explained to them it is beyond economical repair. Why should their problem be my problem when it's just here to when you're just here to help? Yeah, I agree with that. We'll get that quite often as well. Do you guys get that as well, where customers like, oh, can't you fix it anyway, even though you've told them it's like going to cost like 600 quid or something to repair a £200 Chromebook?
Yeah, I had one tonight actually about a MacBook Air. They spilt Coca-Cola over it and it's completely just knackered. And they expect you just to fix it, give it a wash under the tap, repair it, dry it with the hairdryer. It's just knackered, but yeah. So I'm having
I always charge for those sort of jobs up front.
Yeah.
Because I've been stung before where they say just repair it anyway. I do. I front the cost and they never come back and get it because it's just not worth it.
It's funny you say that actually, Will, because I had a customer a few weeks back there that quoted for a laptop. It was a MacBook again with liquid damage. It was all fixed, and yeah, it took me a couple of weeks to get the money out of her. In fact, she just recently paid. And I was stupid enough. Well, I don't want to say stupid enough to trust people, because you want some trust in the world. But I trusted her to give me the payment that night, and I gave her the laptop. I know everybody's going to start shouting at me, no, you don't do that. But I gave her the MacBook back, and yeah, it took me a while to get money out of her. It's just ridiculous.
I think it's one of those things you learn sometimes, is you think you can trust people and you've been dealing with them years, and sometimes they're the worst ones to deal with. Sometimes they're the ones who think they're your friends. It's the amount of times I get people contact me, oh yeah, we're mates, aren't we, and friends, and it's like, yeah, only when you want something doing, and then you want it for free, and it's like, no. But yeah, must agree with you there. Right, let's go over to Will 2 then.
Will number 2 here, right. Something that irks me a little bit, and I know it really frustrates my customers, is passwords. When they're going for a solid-state drive upgrade because their drive has expired, all of their passwords are saved in Google Chrome, and you set up the new machine, you say, what's your email password? What password? And they just give me this sort of confused look. And my heart starts racing, and I think, oh no, it's one of these. And I would say it would have been set up when you set up the account. Nope, never set it up, no password. And you sort of have to gently say, okay, I'll reset it for you. Sometimes they have no recovery information. They get quite aggressive. They get very angry because they can't access their emails, no recovery information set up. And it's just keeping calm and walking them through it and trying to explain that, yes, it's not their fault, even though if they had set it up originally. But if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah, I get that all the time. That annoys me as well, I must admit. I must sound like right grumpy because I'm agreeing with everyone here, but yeah, we get that one all the time. People, the passwords, you set them a new machine up because the old one's dead, or the dead drive, you upgrade or whatever, and they don't know the details, or they've even you try and transfer the stuff over, which, if depending on the browser they're using, they may not save. It may not save the data, or you're not be able to get the data off. It can be a real pain in the backside sometimes. And then they say, "Oh, you should know what the password is. You set it up for me 10 years ago," and I'm like. Yeah, I remember everyone's password and write them all down in my nice little book so I can hack everyone's account later. No, that doesn't happen. But yeah, get that one quite often. It does annoy me, and I must have come across that near enough every day. It's like, oh, I don't know what my password is from email. It's like, well, you've set it up on your phone, you've set it up on your tablet, you've set it up on your laptop, it's on your PC. You should know what it is for everything by now. So, So there's no excuse for that one. I even give them pieces of paper to write the passwords down, and they still get that wrong sometimes. So, I think it's one of those things we just got to learn to live with, unfortunately. And it doesn't matter how many times we tell people to do things; they're just not going to do it, or they know better. Right, let's move on to Dan. So, Dan, what's your tip or your first tip for the night?
I would say it's probably trying to keep up with technology, especially mobile phones. Now everything's going smart. A lot of the older mobile phones don't support it properly. So if you get an old enough device, it won't actually bring notifications. So if you've got, say, a smart doorbell, and you've got an old mobile phone that doesn't support background tasks, your doorbell's not going to work properly.
Okay.
One where fit a full alarm system with CCTV, and the phone was that old, it didn't actually support the background tasks. So you press the doorbell, the phone didn't do anything unless the app was open.
Yeah, no, I can understand that one. Just had a good one coming from Ashley Jones. He's saying phone repairs, the screen cracked on its own on the bedside table. So, yeah, we all have these screens what smash themselves on the side. I remember one, we had a customer come in, we sold them a laptop, custom gaming laptop, it was, to play, I don't know, something like Minecraft or whatever it was on back then. Well, let's just say it didn't come back in the best condition. Apparently, it broke itself. It was literally U-shaped. And I was like, there is no way the laptop's broke itself. It doesn't work fine for 6 months, and then you get it the next morning, and then it's U-shaped. Something has to happen between those 2 points. And I says, has your child or partner or whatever accidentally sat on it? Oh no, my so-and-so would never do that. And it's like, yeah, I bet they wouldn't. I reckon that the missus got a bit annoyed with him and like that, or sat on it or something like that, or a foot through it. But it was practically U-shaped. It wasn't just where like the hinges had gone. The hinges had gone, but the whole latch screen was like bent like that. It was like, no, that's not a hinge issue. The screws were still in the hinges.
Yeah, I
Sorry?
So was that a warranty job?
Well, they were trying to claim a warranty job, yeah, I must admit. So that's true. I had another one similar to that as well, where it was a monitor that wanted to claim a monitor had broken itself. It had been sitting there on the desk and so forth. This is when they were more square-shaped than still TFT style LCD type panel on it, but it was they called, said it had broken, went round the house, and, well, let's put it this way, their white walls were yellow inside there, so I thought, right, okay, it's going to be smoke or something inside it. No, it wasn't smoke inside it. They've got the monitors sitting on top of an old school desk, the ones with the inkwells in, if you can imagine, and they've been using the inkwells as a cigarette tray, basically. And what was just above the cigarette tray is obviously what they dabbed their cigarettes out on, which just happened to be the corner of the monitor. Yeah, exactly. And apparently it was a warranty issue. And I was like, yeah, well, it did it to itself. I was like, yeah, it's been smoking and it's obviously bent inwards, not outwards. It's definitely an external issue.
So maybe I've fencing and hedges.
Yeah. Luckily, I never saw that customer again. But there we go. Right, so Paul's saying, what should you say to a customer? Would you like some extra security to go with your new Windows install, SSD, etc., etc.? Upsell? So, are you asking how you would say it? But yeah, be honest, anything like that, I think we covered some of this on the last show, is upselling is a big thing. So just say, best way of upselling stuff is usually maybe do a slight offer on it when you're doing it. So knock a $5 up, say, oh, while we've got your machine in for a service or whatever, would you like this security? Because you haven't got any security on your computer, you're not protected against ABCD, it also cleans your machine up or whatever else it's got built into it, VPN or whatever, and so forth. It's normally 30 quid, we can do it for you 25 quid today while we've got the machine in and so forth. So yeah, always upsells. If you think it needs it. Don't just do it just for the sake of it. Obviously, don't try and sell someone a Ferrari when they only need a Fiesta. So just make sure you're upselling the right things. But yeah, security is a big one. Online backup is another one. Stuff along that lines. Generally, we upsell maintenance contracts, as some people call them, which is another thing I don't like to call them. I actually like to call them agreements, because the customer doesn't feel like they're tied into a contract as such, so there's more chance for them to generally saying yes. Well, that's my feeling to it anyway. As soon as you start saying contract, people going, oh, that means I'm signing my life away, where agreement doesn't sound as bad. It sounds like an agreement between the two of you. So there's quite a few words like that, which I'll get into in a few seconds. So I hope that answers your question, Paul. So actually, that was one of the first things I was going to talk about anyway. So that's pretty good. Let's have a look what else I've got on my tips. The first thing would be, I'm not sure, but I believe that. For example, I'm not sure, but I believe that should work, as in you're not actually sure if it would fix the problem or do what the job, because basically you're telling someone that it does something when it may not. So make sure you tell the customers, obviously, the exact truth. If you don't know, don't make it up. Don't say you think it can. Only tell them you know it can if you definitely know it can. And if you don't know, then you need to obviously contact wherever you're getting it from or whatever, or find out the actual truth before you actually tell them, because obviously what you're telling them could be harmful, it could be dangerous, it could cause data destruction and different things like that. So that's one thing I would suggest, is obviously don't think, obviously no. So don't give people advice if you're not 100% sure. Just say, hey, this is not my specialty, I do know someone who is, or give me a bit and I'll get you an answer. Don't just make it up off the top of your head, because that will get you in trouble, financially possibly. If you tell someone whatever, you could potentially get sued for it, false advertising and so forth. Right, let's move on to Ben. So Ben, what's your next one?
So yeah, sometimes it's about, or as I want to say to the customer, and how you are with them. So another one I had, and by the way, my customers are on the whole really nice. It's just I picked a couple of like really awkward customers. So this guy brought in an HP 15 laptop, like I think it was about a year and a half ago, and surprise, surprise, the hinges are broken on it. Hinge mounts are broken. I mean, I don't know many that haven't broken, but yeah. I was going away for a long weekend to Italy that weekend. This was like pre-COVID as well. And I said, look, I have to order the parts in, and the parts may not arrive till I get back. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. It's not a problem. And I was going away on the Friday, and he sort of phoned me on the Thursday. Oh, we really need the laptop back for the weekend. And I said, well, the parts haven't arrived yet. And I says, like I said to him, going away for the weekend, I'll be back on Monday, and do it then for you. Oh no, we really need it back. Really need it back. And he says, I'll just come and pick the laptop up how it is. I says, well, it's kind of like most of this disassembled, waiting for new parts arriving. Oh, can you just cobble it back together and just sort of give it back in bits? I'll put it back together myself, sort of thing. I said, well, look, I'm really not recommending you do that. I said, you brought it in for me for repair. It's in bits. I says, if you're insisting you want to take it away, I said, I'll get you to sign a disclaimer for me. So I think the thing is, you just got to be quite firm with customers, And he says, yeah, I'll sign you a disclaimer and pay you for the parts that you've ordered, and I'll bring it back in later on at a different time, sort of thing. And then when he came to pick it up, he signed the disclaimer and paid me for the parts. And it was like, I'm going to fix this computer myself at home, It's like, well, I don't know what to do, because sometimes you can't win with folk, I was just really firm with him and says, like, I'm not recommending you take this away. And he actually came back to me about a year later with the same HP. And his idea of repairing it had been just to tape the lid to the base, and so it was sort of held open at a 90-degree angle permanently. And he actually brought that same laptop back in, and he wanted me to put an SSD upgrade into it. And I was just like, man, I'm not doing this whatsoever. I says, I'll sell you a sort of decent refurbished machine like a Dell Latitude. That'll do what you want and have an SSD in it, but I'm not touching that machine, because you've already taken it away. You've made a complete hash of trying to fix it yourself. And he actually listened to me, but I think, the sort of point is, sometimes you just have to be able to tell customers how it is, but be sort of as good as you can be assertive about it. You know, it's as much as this sounds a bit sort of, the customer is not always right.
Okay, I think we lost Will. I am there, so hopefully he'll be back in a few seconds. But yeah, I agree with you there, Ben. Sometimes we always check every machine we get coming in and visibly before we check them in, and just to make sure it doesn't look like someone's been messing around with it. And if we can see looks a bit dodgy, as in someone's been trying to watch YouTube videos or whatever to how to fix it, and there's 5 screws missing and scratch marks all down the edge where they tried to prise it open with a kitchen knife and stuff like that, then we'll look at it and go, no, we're not touching that one. We just know when we open it up it's going to be a right mess inside. So, but yeah, must agree there. So hopefully we'll be back in a few seconds. He just messaged me, so I'll go back to that in a few minutes. Peter said something pretty good there. He says, don't say, I don't know what's going on with your repair ticket. Do say, I would be happy to find out what's going on with your repair ticket. Yeah. So good point there, Peter. Sounds more positive in that you actually know what you're talking about rather than you don't know what you're talking about. So that's pretty good. Let's move on to Will Smith next while I see what Will's messaging me about and what's happened. Okay, so Will, what's your next thing, what you would recommend to say, not say, or story?
Mine is a story about my colleague Tyler, because we had a customer she's notoriously difficult, but she always keeps coming back because we do her great service. She brought a phone in for a data transfer just before she was going on holiday, sorted out the data transfer, but this phone was really on the rocks. It was difficult to get the screen on for more than 10 seconds at a time. Managed to transfer everything over, but we couldn't sign it again onto the emails thing, signing into accounts, etc. Transferred it all over, and we were really, really busy that day. We had no free time. She comes back in and then expects us to do a sort of half-hour, 45-minute setup session, teaching her how to use her no phone and sign into everything. And we had to explain that we didn't have time, but we don't say we're too busy to help you, we don't have time. We explained that we were helping other customers just like her, and that they had priority because they had come in first and they would feel exactly the same as she did if she had booked an appointment for this setup. And we just have to say, I'm sorry, we're going to have to book you in so that we can help you. We'll do our best to get you in as soon as possible. We just gave her a quick run through, 10 minutes at the desk, and she went away. She did come back a little bit annoyed, but she had her appointment and she left happy.
That's good. It's always good when you get a good fix at the end. And as I think everyone can see there, Will's just said, sorry, folks, there's had a power cut. We'll be giving someone a telling off. Yeah, Will, you need to repair more computers and pay your electric bill. Okay, so hint, hint, get some more work done. So hopefully will be back on. If not, well, not to worry, we've only got 20 minutes left for this show. Right, Dan, do you have any other things you should say or shouldn't say or stories?
Yeah, I had a games console not long back, PlayStation 4. He said, it just turned off, can't get it to work. So I took the cover off. Hey, hold, liquid damage. So got the console working, DVD drive didn't work. So I looked closer, the water had gone into the connector, but this guy was messaging me every 2 or 3 hours. Is it ready? Is it ready? Is it fixed? So I said, I can try and get the connector, I can't guarantee anything. And he got to the point where he was messaging me so much to look, come get your PlayStation, pay for your bill and go. So he ended up with a digital version of it instead because the DVD drive was completely shot. And he come back a week later, any chance can you solder the ribbon direct to the motherboard? I said, not a chance. And he left. I've never dealt with him ever since.
Yeah, I think you had a close call there, to be honest with you. Yeah, you get a few.
Super thin as well.
I don't know. Yeah, apparently Will's saying that his electric went off because his wife jumped off his electric bike, apparently. So a bit like hamster in the wheel, power in the house. It's his wife who does that. So hopefully he'll be back on in a bit. If not, we'll be on a show in the future. Right, okay, so I suppose it's me next. So, right, obviously don't say things to, like, obviously customers can get angry and stuff, and it's very easy to say something like, listen to me, to try and shut them down or whatever, but that shows that you're impatient in front of the customer. Listen to me, and so forth, sounds pretty bad, to be honest, like you're talking to a kid. So obviously you don't want your customers to think you're talking down to them, even though sometimes they may not know what you're talking about. Actually telling them things like that can be a bit of a pain, to be honest, and cause more issues. Do we have any more people in the chat with any stories or advice they would give? What would you say to a customer if your customer was being, I don't know, angry with you or irritated or something along that lines? How would you deal with it? I have a feeling I know what some of you would like to do, but what would you actually do? Will, Dan, and Ben, do you guys have any more bits of advice or stories?
Sometimes when my customers are a little bit angry that their device can't be fixed or their data can't be recovered, and I know that it was completely beyond repair, I just tell them that I will take another look, even though I know there's nothing I can do, just to give them a few hours or a day or so to calm down. And it just makes it look like you're really trying, and it's just like Peter just said in the chat, like you just have to empathize, put yourself in their shoes. They should back up, and that's something that you can recommend after. But I think giving people a couple hours or a day to calm down, 9 out of 10 times, they always come back, they apologize for the way they acted. They think that you did just go the extra mile, even though you might not have done anything. It's just giving them a time to level their head.
Yeah, definitely a good point there, and it was one of mine on the list as well. So emphasize wherever possible, as Peter said as well. But yeah, definitely agree with that one. I think you had something you wanted to say as well, Dan. What else did you got?
Always cover your back with your jobs. So, like I mentioned before, the game's contact liquid damage. Take pictures, attach them to your notes, and make as many notes as possible. So say if a client comes back, say maybe 12 months down the line, I bought my console, it's not water damage. And you say, well, hold on, here's the pictures from when I fixed it and when I opened it. This is what I found.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I've
definitely.
had that a few times.
Yeah, definitely a good tip, that one, to be honest with you. Saves arguments and so forth in the future. Who's at blame? We obviously, when we get stuff in, we for repair or go to someone's house, we basically sign a form basically first, write down any issues with the device and so forth. Well, it's all done electronically these days, and we print it out if we're in the store, get them to sign it and so forth. But we've also got cameras pointed at them signing the forms. We've also got cameras pointed at the device and so forth, just in case they turn around and says, oh, I brought it in with a power cable and we didn't get a power cable. We can easily do that. We've had it before where people have brought the wrong power cable and we give them the wrong one back, and because we never used the power cable because it was something simple, and it's like, well, you've given me the wrong power cable back. Well, no, it's the same one you brought in, it's the same one we wrote the label on, it's the same one on the camera, it's the same model number even. Most things have got obviously barcodes on them. If you've got a barcode reader, scan it in your system, and that way you know exactly what's come in and gone out. And when we get stuff in the store anyway, we label it up, and we even put it all in a special box for each device. So we put the laptop in there, the power cable, the work notes, and everything, and then even put a sticker on the box saying which work job number it is, so we know everything's there, and that box follows it around everywhere we go. So there's no chance that anything can get mixed up, and worst case scenario, if it did, we've got all the barcodes and everything we've scanned and so forth, so it should keep it all together. So that's pretty good. We've just got one in from Macaulay. Right, okay. We had a customer call today asking if we could do a reinstall of Windows XP. Did you tell them that we're in 2022 and not 2002? I explained that it wasn't beneficial to me or him as it's no longer supported. He turned up at the shop with his computer and was persistent in asking for a clean install of Windows XP. I explained that it was... it will do that and only that, and he needed to sign a disclaimer, which he did, and then before he left, he turned around and said, will I still be able to use my printer with it? Yeah, exactly. So not everyone understands what a fresh install of Windows is. That's one thing that we always make sure when we tell people. We basically got near enough a checklist to basically tell people these things will no longer work if you have a fresh install of Windows. So, okay, yes, we can do a data transfer, which puts your documents and everything on. But if you had Microsoft Office, which unfortunately a lot of customers think Microsoft Office or Windows Office or whatever the hell they want to call it these days, it is actually part of Microsoft Windows. So they get the two mixed up. So you think you're putting Windows on something, they think you mean Office. So it's not. So it's gets a bit confusing every now and again, especially when Microsoft likes changing its names of its products to confuse people. So yeah, the checklist, as I say, in printers is one of the things on there, as well as any other external devices and so forth. But printers, scanners are usually the big ones. They just think that automatically everything's going to work and it's going to be exactly the same as it was. So if it was exactly the same as it was, then why did you bring it in? Because it would have been, you'd be getting the same thing back, basically. So, but there you go. They think that fixes everything, which it doesn't. But yeah, Windows XP, we wouldn't touch that. We're a barge pole, to be honest with you, unless it was a business customer, and they'd be paying hell of a lot of money for it. Let's put it that way if we did. But yeah, our excuse for that, or not really an excuse, reasoning is it's unsupported. You're not officially able to activate it anymore, so we won't touch it. If we basically putting it on, then it's going to be unactivated and so forth, and then it's going to be potential issues down the line, and then you'll probably come back to us when you buy a brand new printer and wonder if it'll work. So Macaulay says his disclaimer is bulletproof. Yeah, it needs to be, unfortunately. And also, Alan Winter saying, always offer a solution for any repair, even if it is beyond economical repair. We do that to a degree, Alan, because some things, well, the only solution for the repairing it is replacing the whole machine, because you sometimes just can't get parts. And would you really want to try and repairing someone who's had liquid damage and it's all rusted up inside? Okay, half of the parts might be working today, but are they going to work tomorrow? And you just know the customer's going to be having problems in the future. So yeah, agree to a degree. So but yeah, we do like to offer people, say, yeah, well, we can repair the machine. It's beyond economical repair. It is going to cost you 800 quid to repair, or we can get you a new one for £400. We will say that, and that's they usually then go, oh yeah, I'll have the new one or whatever. But yeah. So, and McCall is saying we will not be held responsible for the operation of your computer once it has left the store. On this occasional, under the circumstances, is our fee refundable? Yeah. So yeah. So I can't remember the last time we did a refund for any repair or anything like that, to be honest. Obviously, you always get that product to the person. Someone's bought a product and they're like, oh, we've not used the product, and they bring it back in and the packaging's ripped to pieces. It looks like it's been through a shredder and they've cut through the cable. It's like, I don't want it anymore. I never used it. And I was like, look at it, and you're thinking, yeah, right, do one. So you have to explain to them, unfortunately, because the packaging is broken, blah, 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 blah. I think you all know the gist. I'm not going to go through the whole spill. But yeah, right, okay, so let's have a look. Right, this is a big one, okay? And if you're married or got a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, this is something you should not say to them either, and that is calm down. Okay, if you do that, you'll get in trouble, and I know that from personal experience many times. But yeah, telling someone to calm down basically does the complete opposite. It makes things 10 times worse, and you might be saying it as an, okay, chill out. That's basically the same thing. So just try not to tell people to, well, be calm, basically, because it's just gonna backfire on you. Best thing to do is, like you said a few minutes ago, is give them a few days to stew or whatever over it, and usually they calm down once they've had time to think about what they've been doing and so forth. But yeah, that's definitely one thing I would suggest you stay well away from. Also, another big thing, okay, I know some of you do, but is swearing as well. It can put customers off straight away. So, especially some types, especially the customers you probably want to be aiming your work at anyway. Let's put it that way. You're going to scare a lot of customers off. So, do watch your language, even if it's little things like bloody or whatever. Some people, believe it or not, especially older customers, take offence to words like that. So, just do watch your language. Okay. I'm not telling you what to do.
It's adjusting yourself to the customer as well.
Yeah.
Because you might get somewhere they talk like that themselves, so you can then talk like that. Or you get some person that's very, very posh. You have to talk very posh, very proper.
Yeah.
So it's adjusting your language to help with that one.
Yeah, customers can be very funny about things, and it can even be if you're mobile tech and you go to people's houses. If you've just had a new car and you pull up in front of their house in a new car, they suddenly think that you're charging too much. I remember having to explain to one customer, yeah, it's just a Ford Mondeo. I'm not riding around in a Ferrari. Yes, it is a new one. I generally have them quite a few years, but I need to have a reliable vehicle which I can use and so forth. But yeah, it's like, well, you must be charging a lot of money if you can afford one of those. It's like, yeah, but you've got a Mercedes parked on your driveway. What are you complaining about? And it's like, but yeah, you have to be nice to the customer even when they are sometimes trying it on sometimes, I think. And I think that some of them are just looking for a rise out of you, so they want confrontation or whatever. I think that's all they have to do sometimes is complain about things. So best thing to do is try not to complain. Put a bit of dirt on your car first before you go around when it's new, just in case they think it's too new. Something like that.
Dents in the door.
Yeah.
That's it. Sorry, what was that, Ben?
I'm not in the position where customers think my car's new.
They tip you quite a lot, don't they, Ben? So you can afford a new car.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, you've got what was it, a Beetle and a what?
A Beetle, a 21-year-old Hyundai and a 49-year-old Beetle.
There you go. So, yeah, I don't think you'll have that issue there. You'll probably find your customers more likely to offer you a tow home than anything, aren't they?
It's funny you should say that, Phil. Actually, I had to get a customer to give me a push start last week.
Oh dear.
I went in the house and you had to push me to get me going again.
I've only ever had to have one push, and that was because it was on a snowy hill, basically, and I parked outside our customers, and it snowed while I've been there, and I just couldn't get up the hill, basically. So, but yeah, not broken down at a customer's yet. Touch wood. Right, okay. Has anyone else got anything they want to add? If not, we're going to close the show in a few minutes. So if anyone in chat has got anything else they would like to talk about or discuss, got any questions about TechMax, got any questions, I don't know, for Ben or Will or even Dan about anything they do, feel free to ask. Now's the time. You've got 5 minutes, so send them in. Right, Will, Ben and Dan, do you have anything else you would like to add to the conversation before we end it for tonight? No.
I'll say I always overestimate my time frames. I'm sure everyone does it, but if I see a job and I think that's going to take me 10 minutes, I always say it's going to take me 24 hours just to ensure, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to walk through the door that might be more urgent. And I'd rather tell a customer it's going to take me a day and then take me an hour, and then they are really happy, probably tip because they pick it up early, rather than say it's going to be an hour. And then the next day, they're calling me every 10 minutes saying, where's my device? Where's my device?
Yeah, I got that exact tip from someone really, really clever. His name's Scotty out of Star Trek. So if you're ever into Star Trek, guys, and you ever watch Scotty, when he's repairing the Enterprise, he always says it's going to take 24 hours to repair. It only takes him usually about half an hour. And then everyone thinks he's a miracle worker. So yeah, overestimate your work just in case there's any problems. And if you do get it done quicker, the customer thinks you're really good at what you do. So yeah, that's advice I got from Scotty out of Star Trek. And before anyone asks, am I a Trekkie? Maybe. But there we go. That's for another conversation. Not as much as I used to be, let's put it that way. So, right, okay. So, but I am enjoying, though, the new Boba Fett, especially since Mandalorian's been in it. Any of you guys watching the Mandalorian?
I've watched Mandalorian, haven't watched the new Boba Fett.
Yeah.
But I did really enjoy it.
I'd suggest having a look at it, to be honest with you, because it's sort of crossovers.
I've heard
especially
really good things.
halfway through the season anyway, it seems to. It started off a bit slow, to be honest, and then got a bit better. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it for now. Upcoming shows, just to let you all know, we do have a show next week. Again, I'm waiting for confirmation, so I don't have a name for it yet, but there will be one next week at 8 o'clock. We will have a distributor on in a couple of weeks' time. Not mentioning who yet exactly, because I've still not got the 100% clear to say it. And then we're going to have a very, 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 very big software company on, all being well, 2 times in the next few months as well. So when I'll let you imagine who they be, I can't say who it is yet because, again, they haven't 100% agreed, but it seems like that one's going through as well. So when I say big, you're pretty much as big as you're going to get. And I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of questions for them. So not spoiling the surprise. Right, okay then. So that's it for tonight then. So I'd like to say thank you to Ben, thank you for Will, thank you for Daniel, and thank you for the power cut for the other Will as well, because we got rid of him early. So there we go. But again, guys, we're on next week, 8 o'clock. If you do want to join Tech for Tex, if you're not a member, you can go to our website, which is tech4tex.co.uk wrong link, /join. There we go. That's the right one. So tech4tex.co.uk /join. If you are interested in TechMax, which is a trade event based in Sheffield at Bramwell Lane, you can go to that web address, which is TechMax 2022. Bear in mind, if you do want to join Tech for Tex, you are joining over 1,300 members, just like you, vendors, distributors, pretty much most of the ones in the UK are in the group, as well as loads of techs like you. We've got guys who just work at home, in an office, MSPs, own a retail store, or own a store what even makes well over £1,000 every week, or well, I say £1,000, I mean £1 million every week. So we've got a good range of people in there. So if you're wanting advice, help, whatever, you should be able to get it within the group. But just make sure when you do click join, you fill in the questions. If you don't fill in the questions, you're not getting in. It's simple as that. Even if you say answer one thing, you need to answer all 3 questions and agree to the terms and conditions. Otherwise, I'm not letting you in, even if your name is Bill Gates. And that did happen. Okay, so I don't think it was a real one, though, but he didn't answer the question, so we'll never know. Right, guys, so we'll see you next week, and thanks again, everyone, and thanks for watching. See you later.